All right, everybody, welcome to What the Hell. This episode we're going to talk about is Base Camp Lindsey. Basically, it's an organization to where they're trying to house, well, not really trying, you're getting everything geared up to house homeless veterans. Now, first thing on that would be what's your charity all about? What kind of guidelines are you trying to set for the charity to house all these veterans, and where you're getting started with it?
The guidelines right now, we've just purchased our building that we're going to use to, provide homes for the homeless veterans. And right now, we are trying to get that building renovated. We're in the process of getting the city permits and everything to begin demolition. We have a general contractor, but that's where we're at. And once our renovations are done, we hope to have doors open.
Well, I also looked at and seen that you had like a post on your Facebook page that basically you're selling squares. I wanted to ask you about that more because a $20 square, you get a signature, a little. What it doesn't entail.
This is what I think our best fundraiser ever. And what you can do is you can purchase a square foot tile of that actual building. That will be your square tile, and you can come in and autograph it, or write a message, or have your kids decorate it, whatever you want. That is your tile, and it's $20 a square foot. And the goal is obviously to have every square foot in the building purchased, because that's going to get the roof and the electricity set up for us, which is a major fundraising goal of ours. But it's also really brilliant because it ties anybody who participates to the building. They get to come in and physically touch what they're donating to, as opposed to just writing a check. And then they're tied to that forever. They can come in 5 years and 10 years and show their friends and family, hey, this is what I did. This is how I helped. And on a side note for that, I'm a board member for Base Camp Lindsey, and they have agreed that if I sell 248 square tiles, which is the size of one veteran's room, that they will allow me to name that room in memorial of my fiance who was killed in action. Because I can't afford to sponsor, the room like, a business can. But if I can get enough tiles sponsored, then they'll go ahead and let me do that room in his name. So
Okay, cool. Now, another thing is how did this charity started up? When we were talking before we actually started filming, you were saying that Chris Patterson, not the bad one right now, but set it up to start it.
From my understanding, I mean, he was invited to come in and be a member of the board, and he was going to be able to help us set up and get a lot of these things that we were wanting to do funded. Obviously, with a lot of...
It just didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, with a lot of pull that he's got here in town, and it's obviously was a no-brainer to bring him in. And on top of that, Harry Patterson he's a Christian, and he's very active with wanting to do things for the veteran community. So, at some point, we would like to revisit that relationship and invite him back into the fold. But we've got to make sure that all of our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed before we do that.
No, okay. You basically want to set it up to where it's already going. Hey, could you help out a little bit more?
Right.
Type thing.
Yeah.
Because we had, I had the same thing. Because when we were doing the honor flight, basically honor flight is it sets up veterans to take a trip to Washington D.C. They started out. What they did was they started out with World War I veterans, and they worked themselves up. My dad was on that list to go. He's a Vietnam vet, and he set it up. We're set up to do that, but the whole trip almost didn't happen. But luckily they had a golf tournament. One of the guys up there was like, "How much is it?" It's like $65,000. Cash a check right then and there. A lot of times it's just getting the right people in the right situations.
And we have so many wonderful volunteers that have helped us and contributed. you know, but this has been going on for a while now, but we are finally in that direction where we are making movement. We've got the building, because that was a fight to get the building, you know, especially with everything, you know, court being delayed with COVID and everything, so to get it voted on. But now we are ready to start renovating, and that means our doors will be open.
That's
so.
awesome.
Yeah, you know, and that's the one thing too. It's, you know, I've said it before, but you know, it's like, as military members, we get trained to do a mission. You know, we get, you know, whether it's sent places domestically or, you know, places overseas, we're sent overseas. We're sent out and trained to do a mission, but we are not given that training to transition back into civilian life.
Yeah, that's a lot of the podcasts that I listen to, especially like Free Range America, anything with like Andy Stump, Cleared Hot. They're always talking about not transitioning. I mean, Rob O'Neill, the guy that shot Osama bin Laden, he set up an organization for special ops to basically set them up to get CEO jobs and everything like that. And a lot of the stuff that he puts out for his charity organization is the problem solving. Hands down, some of the I'll hands down on that some of the military people that get out of the military, they can't really problem solve that much. They're just there. But most of the organizations like special forces and stuff like that, or infantry, they're problem solving like that only because they had to problem solve like that. Yeah. You're in a situation to where, hey, we're all about to die.
Yeah,
and we need to fix this problem to where they're about to die.
Yeah, and not to take anything away from the support MOSs, but you know, a lot of the combat MOSs, like the infantry, Rangers. I mean, well, Rangers is infantry, but you know, your special forces, special operations command, basic ground pounders. You know, whether it be Army or Marines, but you know, we are trained to exist in a fluid environment.
Yeah.
So, you know, but what I find is, and I can't remember where it is that I heard this, but it just stuck with me, that when we come home, we don't have that constant factor of chaos in our lives, you know, to give us some kind of like
comfort,
comfort or normalcy. You know, because whenever it hits the fan, you know, a lot of times you just take that deep breath and try to slow everything down so that way you can allocate your resources.
Yeah.
But when we come home and then it's not there, you know, a lot of times we'll recreate that and inject it into our own lives. And that's why, like, suicide and divorce rates are incredibly high, you know, across the veteran community. And, you know, and I think, too, there, you know, it has to be a two-sided, you know, it has to be a two-front battle where, you know, we train our brothers and sisters when they're coming home how to transition, how to cope, how to deal, get them off of that mantra that it's not okay to be okay. And in fact, quite often does it. It is okay to be not okay.
Yeah.
And reach out for help, you know, call whoever it is that you need to call. It doesn't matter what time of day or night until somebody answers the phone. But on the other side of it is, you know, needing to find programs or create programs to help the families, you know, because they're back here, you know, living, you know, we're just over there surviving, you know, but when we come back, I mean, they've been over here living, they've been dealing with the bills, the days,
they've got to balance.
you know, they've established that command structure, so to speak, for lack of a better term, within the house, and then here we come expecting things to go back to the way that they were before we left, and a lot of times that's not the case. And you'll get a lot of that, you know, the spouse that stays home becomes the alpha of the household, and then here comes G.I. Joe, and they're butting heads all the time.
Plus, you add PTSD, and it's, you know, it can be a bad situation. And I think I read, I want to say it was 78% of homeless veterans who have sought mental health services were determined to have a traumatic brain injury. Because that's a big problem.
A TDI.
Yeah, for us, in this community, it's like, oh, we don't see homeless people. Why would we contribute? Why would we want to give you money, to help, fund this nonprofit? Because where are the homeless people? Well, they're there. They're there, and we have homeless veterans here in our community, in our county, and they're painfully embarrassed because of their life circumstances. They're reclusive. They're shy. This past Christmas stand down, Vern, he's one of our homeless veterans that we know, and it was so significant for me because I met him the year before, that he was willing to speak on camera, because I wanted to say, look everybody, this is a homeless veteran, and you can see that he's struggling with problems, and he is a kind man, and he needs our help, but they are there. Here he is. And I had to really I was like, Vern, will you please talk on camera? Will you please interview? Because he's very, very shy, but they're there, and they do need help. And I feel like it's everybody's responsibility to help people, because these are people that sacrifice for us.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people that, there's a lot of, for TDI and PTSD, they're trying to use DMTs and other hallucinates to actually, because basically what it basically does is it takes your frontal lobe and just stops it from working for a while. Then you are able to basically reset your brain. A lot of doctors are saying for the PTSD, it's like total reversal once you start the treatment. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is even with the TDIs are, you can get a TDI just by bumping your head against the wall really bad.
Yeah.
And that really affects you. I had a friend tell me about one of his sergeants. He was a Green Beret, and he was going back and forth so much that he had so bad of TDI, he had to use a GPS just to get to work and get home.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, it's just because of the war. No, it's the factors in that war that messes you up.
Yeah.
And it's not even combat. It really isn't even just the combat. It's the trauma to where, hearing.
Hearing loss. Every Marine I know has tinnitus.
Yeah.
They live with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could affect you mentally too.
Yeah, I have to sleep with a fan or something going in the background. Otherwise, I just get that constant ringing. I was a 50 cal gunner. Oh, God. So,
I feel for you, buddy.
Well,
even right now, before even, because I started doing, I want to do 3 guns and everything. I put in soft ones, then I cover up because I don't want my hearing that bad.
Well, because, back in the day, 18, 19, 20 years old, you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. So the only time that you put your earplugs in was when you were at the range.
And then, of course, then you take that, these are 18 and 19-year-old kids. I say that now because, I'm older. I was 18 when I went in, but I'm like, we're sending 18-year-olds whose, brain synapses haven't even fused yet to go deal with adult situations that most adults don't even, ever have to imagine comprehending. So what does that do?
Yeah, that's a lot of the cases that I was like, even now, even with the new administration, the old administration went in and it's like, hey, we need to bring these people back. We need to stop doing this bullshit. And now they're sending over more troops. I'm like, listen, we did this, so our kid, because right now we're still fighting a war that, when it started, I was old enough to have kids.
Yeah.
And now we're still doing the same conflict that my child has a chance to go to, which I don't want my child to go to have that chance. That's one of those things.
Yeah. I've got a 25-year-old. Currently he's a police officer in Amarillo, but he was born when I was in, and when he graduated high school, he went off and became an infantryman, just like his old man, and so I got to experience both sides of the equation. You know, it's like I was in, and I did everything that I was supposed to do. I came home, and now my son went, and I had to stay home. You know, and I'm telling you, I developed a very newfound respect for, for the families and the parents that have to stay home while their kid goes overseas. Because I'm sitting here, my kid's going overseas, and I'm just like, there was Murphy's laws of combat. One of them is that the world is, professionals are predictable, but the world is full of amateurs. So I mean, a number of dumb dumb things can happen. We've got these kids that we're sending over there, and we give them the best training, or they get the best training, militarily in the world, but we're just not giving them the tools. I mean, the tools and the resources are there, and I think that a lot of the reason why we still have this stigma of PTSD just kind of hanging over us is that, we had that culture of toxic leadership in the military. I was part of that regime of, if you talk about it, you kind of sort of have to turn in your man cards.
Yeah,
well, not even that.
You're penalized for it, basically.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of things. It's like Amity Stump even talked about it. He was like, if you talk about you might have some kind of problem, then you might get your top secret clearance.
And you could be discharged. And now people are afraid of getting help from the VA for PTSD because they're concerned about not being able to have weapons.
Yeah.
I had that conversation with somebody the other day, and they were being serious.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if the VA rates your PTSD at a certain stage, they basically tell you no longer can own weapons.
Yeah, I read about that they were trying to repeal that.
And on one side I understand, it's for safety, but when you try to breach the firewalls of the Constitution, I mean, every other Constitution every amendment in the Constitution is ensured by the second.
Yeah.
And I know that that's a slippery slope, and we can turn this into a pro or anti-gun argument, but if we're training these kids, now men and women, to go overseas and handle, and I hate to use the term military grade because I think anybody who's been in the military just laughs at it.
Yeah, only because it's like, so you're getting something from the lowest bidder? Yeah, it was military, because I had a conversation about my jacket. He was like, oh, but that's a military style jacket, so it's really good. I was like, dude, this jacket's a piece of shit.
Yeah, right. It's like, you know how many layers I have to wear under this Gore-Tex to keep myself warm?
Exactly.
But and it's like, okay, so we're sending them over there, and they're training with all of these different weapon systems, and they're employing them, and they're using them with a degree of lethality that is very impressive. But then we're bringing them back home, and then we're telling them, you can't own a rifle, you can't own a pistol.
Yeah, it's basically at the point to where, okay, we're going to teach you how to kill, and we're just going to let you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
or here's some medication.
Yeah.
You're not feeling good?
That's another
medication.
thing. The reason why I'd rather have like DDIs and marijuana, and for a long time until I started doing research myself, is there was a guy, Logan O'Hare. He works. He does Grizzly Forge, and he shattered his back. He had and it wasn't anything military. It was he was trying to be a big man and move a gun safe, and it fell on top of him.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would kill me.
Yeah. Well, anyways, they were basically doing pain management and trying to give him.
With a back injury, that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, and even my story on that is my mom had a dislocated disc, and they had her on pain management, and this is 2001, where the fixing of a back was it was 75% chance to where now that it would go wrong.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's 80 to 90% chance it will go right.
Yeah.
What happened with her is they just kept on throwing pain medication, and she eventually just killed herself. Yeah, and I'm very advocate about people that's like, well, I have back pain. Start on pot. Just do pot. And they're like, well, they're giving me these Oxycontins and stuff like that. It's like you will get addicted to that,
Yeah.
And to the point to where even if, say, you had surgery and you're on Oxycontin or any other of the high end,
it'll throw you down a well.
and then they take it away because your
you've
pain
gotta
should
be
be
on
over by
those-
now.
You got to go to those clinics.
You have to go to detox to just
Yeah.
get off that.
Yeah, you know, and I believe in vaccinations. Don't get me wrong. Don't for those of you watching and listening, don't take it that way. But I mean, like as far as like antidepressants and anxiety and like attention deficit drugs, I'm so anti-pill. I mean, I would like
It is right for some people.
Yeah, it's, I mean, literally
But it's
you
not a
have
fix
to,
all.
Yeah, you have to twist my arm just to get me to take aspirin a lot of times. Like my girlfriend is constantly getting on to me. I'm like, I don't feel good. She's like, well, did you take something? I'm like, oh yeah, I might take
Honestly,
something.
I always have headaches. There actually is, if you have like a real bad headache, instead of like taking pills and everything.
Yeah, there's a pressure point right here.
Even better for you though. Instead of the pressure point, go for a walk.
Or drinks.
Long
When my
walk.
kids have headaches,
The
I'm like,
endorphins and everything like that will kick in and everything. Your headache will be gone. I had a really bad headache one time and I walked from over in Avenue K to over here. It was a 2-hour walk in flip-flops. And a lot of people probably think I'm crazy because all I was doing was like waving at cars at the time. Which I am kind of crazy. But anyways.
you need to rock with us.
Yeah, that's beautiful segue. Okay, so Marissa
Oh yeah,
and I,
yeah. The
Marissa
rocking.
and I, we are members of Thomas Fowler American Legion Post 169 here in town.
Which you should also join.
I
did join, and that was when I first got out of the service. Me and my brother-in-law went in there, did that.
He's
and we
the
just
vice
can't-
commander now.
Yeah, I'm
It's a
vice
whole
commander.
different. It's the coolest.
It's-
when
It's
we
not to
did
take
that-
away from it's not to take away
Okay,
from our
yes.
older veterans.
Yeah.
And it's not like a situation where you go into these older churches and everybody, if you're not reading or singing from the red hymnal book, it's blasphemy. No, I mean we have to evolve the mission. We have to evolve the way that we conduct our mission.
Yeah.
Because I mean the demographics of the spectrum of veterans is not only getting younger, but it's diversifying. So I mean we have to be adaptive in order to stay relevant.
Yeah, because there was a therapist that actually said, and she was for us to the point to where, what the big difference between World War I veterans and World War II veterans, and veterans after like Vietnam and era, one big difference. It's World War I, World War II. They stopped fighting for a while. For the combat, it was still chivalry.
Yeah,
To where the two commanders would come up and talk it, and they would do that. Nowadays, you're 24/7.
And it's a constantly evolving war. We don't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like we can't keep up. We're
And it's
still
more or
figuring
less
out how to.
like the drug war. It's
Yeah, like
Yeah,
we're just now learning how to treat the Vietnam veterans for PTSD. Well, we've got everybody now. I mean, it's you know what I mean. Like it's we can't keep up. Essentially, we're doing our best, but I don't think that medications are the solution. I think that if your brain is unable to produce a chemical that it needs, then by all means, I wouldn't deny myself insulin if I needed it.
Yeah.
It's like that. But I personally have seen the VA just dole out medications to the point where this person has PTSD and you're making them, catatonic.
I mean,
That's
the
not fixing anything.
One of the reasons why I wanted us to start this rucking program at our post is I'm constantly saying that adrenaline and muscle memory are a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not asking our brothers and sisters to come out there, throw weight on their back, and let's go walk a few miles and then talk about all your shit. We don't want,
No,
we're not trying to do that. We give each other a bunch of crap.
Oh, yeah.
We're constantly making fun of the Marines, calling them crayon eaters, and I'm constantly giving the Air Force people crap because they didn't actually join the military.
And people call me the child.
No, that's the Coast Guard.
This is true. It is Coast Guard. Yeah, but I mean, I'm like, well, isn't that cute? The sky janitors are wearing their pajamas now, because I was Army, so,
Yeah.
but,
In
But
case
I
you didn't
hate
know
to-
already.
yeah.
I hate to tell you this right now, but because the Army couldn't figure out how to run a electric kitchen in Kandahar, Afghanistan, I had to go to Afghanistan. I was not supposed to go to Afghanistan.
Poor
You
guy.
don't want to get
I
this
was horribly terrified. I wanted to play video games all day and watch TV.
I used to have a poster in my barracks room. It was just a regular infantryman, and they're walking, and it's
Oh,
raining.
the one with the four guys.
Yeah, well, the first one is it's raining, and then the grunt is saying, "Well, this sucks," and then
Yeah.
the next one is a ranger, and he's sitting in a foxhole, and it's filling up with water, and he's like, "I like the way this sucks," and then you got a special forces guy who's doing a patrol through a swamp,
Yeah.
and it's raining sideways, and it says, "I wish this would suck more," and then there's an airman whapping it, not whapping, whap, no, not
Whacking.
whacking.
There you go.
He's
See?
hitting a remote on the arm of his recliner, and there's
See, the Air
white
Force is
static
still
on
helping
the.
you out.
He's like, this sucks. So I mean, that used to be on the wall of my barracks room, and we had. He was a loadmaster for the Air Force, and they were attached to the
Which is
101st.
a really cool job.
Yeah, and loadmasters, but I mean, they're anally retentive. I mean, everybody knows that. I mean, you can't bring dirt on my bird, but yet here you are, looking like you pulled your uniform out of an airplane case.
They're loadmasters. They get away with everything.
See, but that's the kind of that's. I mean, we can give each other crap, and it's
Yeah,
like
That type
but
of friendly.
I mean, it's back and forth. I mean, nobody ever really takes it personally. I mean,
No, that's the greatest group of people I've ever
Yeah.
been a part of.
but we get each other out, and the purpose of the whole rucking program is to get us out of the house.
Yeah.
Get us away from the get away from the alcohol, get away from the pills, and away from any kind of like thoughts of hurting yourself, because I mean, I know that it's become kind of like a meme now, but it's like, I'd rather listen to you bitch about things than me have to take time to go attend your funeral, because we just recently lost an airman out at Shepherd about a month ago.
Yep.
He committed suicide. Now, what the particular circumstances of his situation were, we don't know, but the fact is that we still lost a service member to suicide. So I mean, he became one of those 22, and that's 22 too many. I mean, one too many. I mean, whatever it is, I mean, we shouldn't be losing people
Our
to that.
servicemen.
Because I'm of the firm belief that the veteran community is a national resource, not a natural, but a national resource, because it doesn't matter where you served, how long you served, if you saw combat, if you didn't see combat, it doesn't matter. You served in the military. You are a
part
living,
of that network.
Yeah, you're at 1%.
yeah, you're part of that living representation of American history, and a lot of those stories and a lot of those historical events, they're being lost over time as the veteran community starts to age and die or commit suicide. So, and we need to protect that. And just like when you go overseas, it's not about the red, white, and blue. It's not about mom and dad. It's not about mom's apple pie. It's about the person to your left and to your right.
Exactly.
And we need to refocus that attention. Because when we come home, one of the things that a lot of people do is they lose their identity. They're like, well, I'm not a warrior anymore.
Especially
Well,
going into a civilian job, it's like, you guys don't invite people over for Thanksgiving. You don't have my back. I have a flat tire. You tell me,
Well, not even that.
Yes.
It's more or less someone comes up to you and they're being aggressive and everything, and you go up and it's like, I will take your freaking head off. You meet me in the Connex box. It's like, what is he talking about?
Wait,
Stan, we don't talk about that
At
around
my
here.
last job,
And it's not even that, because I mean that advances that stereotype that we've
Yeah.
been painted as, just like, well, you come back and you're just ultra aggressive. Well, no. I mean, to a degree, yes.
It's funny
And that's
to make fun of
because
fat people.
That's our default setting.
That's not okay at a regular job, I found out.
I mean,
No,
I mean,
no, I'll tell you.
It's our default setting to, when we're being pressed on, we push back. Because I mean, look, this is my ground. I'm staking claim to it. But when we come home, a lot of our brothers and sisters, they lose that identity. They don't view themselves as warriors anymore because they don't have that mission statement. And there was an article, I forget who it was that wrote it, but when we come home, we can still identify as a warrior, but we just need to shift our mission focus. So instead of taking that high ground, or taking that open area and securing the perimeter on it, whatever it is, or clearing that village, whatever that objective was, you can shift that to where, for me, I've got kids, so I mean, I'm on my I've been divorced twice, so it's like I'm not a husband anymore, so whatever. But I'm still a dad, so I mean, I can focus I shift my focus from being a warrior to being a warrior for my kids. being the best dad that I can be, being the best, human being that I can be. And, you can still fight for your brothers and sisters, but you can do it in a different way. So we're not necessarily employing direct action. We're not necessarily employing indirect fire, calling in airstrikes. We're not doing any of that, but we can take that and we can shift our focus to, caring for the ones that feel like they got left behind.
Yeah.
We can come back around. We can pick them up. We can lift them out of whatever situation it is that they're in, and we can show them, hey, there's a better way.
And here's a group of people who aren't going to judge you, who will support you and appreciate you and include you. Because I think there's a big stigma about, veteran organizations. Like, I have a lot of friends who are like, ew, I don't want to, do that. And like, it's not what you think it is. As a matter of fact, it's the greatest group of people that I've ever been a part of. And then they're networked to so many other great peer-to-peer veteran network groups. But it's not like, this therapy kind of setting where you sit around and talk about your issues. It's like, no, we go and we do stuff and we have fun, and it's actual people who will have your back in a way that, my parents had COVID, and not like bad, like they were not doing well. And my friends text me, this guy and another one of our friends came to my parents' house to bring them food. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
They came to my parents' house. Like my best female friends sent me a text message, and it's that kind of thing. Like, whatever anybody needs, like, these are the people that will actually be there for you. And those are good friends. And those are people that make you smile and want to get up, every day. Yeah. And we do stuff that's, more physically challenging and less physically challenging. There's something for everybody, but and you're with other people and you're doing something good, and it gives you that sense of purpose, and you're with really great people, and those are really hard to find in the civilian world.
I mean, and there's almost like an exclusivity to our community, as far as veterans are concerned, because we still have that inter-service rivalry. It's like this year, well, I'm telling you, walking with my chest stuck out, because not only did Army beat Navy, but they also beat Air Force and took the Commander-in-Chief trophy.
Yeah.
And I brought that up at our monthly meetings, like we had our monthly meeting took place during Army-Navy week.
Fuck this one.
Yeah!
Dude,
that last bit of the Army-Navy game, I was fucking pissed. I literally sprained my freaking wrist because I was so pissed off.
But I'm sitting there going, I'm like, we had an event at Buffalo Wild Wings, where we kind of just met over there and we got a table, and we had them on that back patio portion of the restaurant. We had them change every channel, every TV to that game, and they were playing the main audio over this restaurant speakers so we could hear what was going on. We had Air Force guys, we had some Army guys, another buddy of mine who lives here in town who was a member of the 101st with me. He was there as well, and we one of our newer members, he's an Army lieutenant, so I mean, we kind of introduced him to the whole, introduced him to the whole, Army-Navy culture, Army-Navy culture, and, so I mean, we're sitting there and just going to town with each other, and one of our guys, his name is Steven, he was in the Marines. And so, we affectionately refer to him as our crayon eater. So, and he embraces that title. I mean, just overwhelmingly.
What's his favorite color to eat, though?
I would think it would probably be like.
I thought it was.
I mean.
Blue or green?
Most people say blue.
Yeah, well, see, yeah. But like he's that special kind of guy that I think he would probably eat gray.
Yeah, he's a college teacher, so.
Yeah, okay.
Because he wants to represent everybody, so you just go gray. But I mean, that's the kind of thing, and and it's like there was even an airman during the Army-Navy game towards the second half of the game. He was just over there sitting by himself, and I'm like, you know what? No, nope.
Yeah.
I walked over there and I was like, hey man, why don't you come on over here and sit with us and watch the rest of the game? And he was like, oh man, I really appreciate that. I mean, because, I thought maybe for like the first 2 quarters of the game, he was just over there waiting on his girlfriend or some of his buddies to show up. And he's like, no, I'm just out here kind of chilling. I was like, well, come on over here. And, I mean, it just, we just added to the environment, to the atmosphere, and so and then we start getting into things like our humor. I mean, veteran humor is just
It's something that only veterans can
predominantly dark,
understand. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people just don't get me because of my humor half the time. Because I was like, one time someone asked me, I was like, "Well, how did you sleep?" Just like God through the Holocaust. They're like, "What the?"
Oh yeah. Well,
See,
when Rucking,
most people are like, oh, but me, I'm like, part of me wants to cringe, but the other part of me, I'm like, bravo.
Yeah.
And it's like, we can tell jokes like that, and then it's like anybody from the outside of our community hears those, and they're like, you just are just savages, and that's why I appreciate, groups like Matt Best and Black Rifle Coffee, and like Range 15, that movie,
Dude, that was freaking
I
awesome.
pulled a muscle laughing so hard at that movie, because I'm just like, especially that scene where he gets out of the truck and he's like, I got a challenge coin for you, and they're like, yeah, Pogues love challenge coins, and it's like, I'm sitting there just laughing, and I'm like,
Nah, my
I get
favorite
that.
my favorite part is when Evan Hafer gets his dick ripped off by the midget.
And then he gets it slapped in his face.
okay, we promised we would not be too inappropriate though. Our
Yeah.
See, but, this is a podcast, and this is his intellectual property, so, I mean, he can...
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Okay,
As long the thing about
when
YouTube.
we were told to keep it PG this morning, it was in relation to the thread that we are a part of.
Okay.
So
When you go through it though, YouTube, once you get past the 5 minutes, you can basically nothing nude or anything like that.
Yeah,
No, we're not gonna
But
say
it's
anything
why I
that
like-
would
it's
get us
why-
in trouble.
super,
yeah, that's why I like Mike Rowe and his podcast the way I heard it. He's like, the podcast for those with a short attention span, and I'm like, see, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
But now he's expanded it to an hour, so like once you get past the story, he does.
He's the dog trainer down in
No,
Houston.
that's the dog whisperer. That's Cesar or whatever. I forget his
No,
name.
there's a
Mike Rowe's the guy that does Dirty Jobs.
Oh, okay.
And narrates
okay.
all the shows, like how the
I'm
universe
thinking
works.
of the Sealed Dog trainer, Drop Mike.
Yeah,
That's the one I listen
no. This
to
is
too.
Mike Rowe. I mean, he has that
Yeah,
Works
yeah.
Foundation. I mean,
Yeah.
love listening to him. He does his podcast in the style of the old Paul Harvey
Oh,
stuff. so,
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
I gotta start listening to him then.
yeah, I mean, it's like the way that he writes these things, and I'm just like, it blows me away. And this week's episode, he was talking about the voiceover community, and him and his producer will both do voice acting, and they were just like, yeah, here's my funny story, and here's his funny story, and so like, because he originally was talking about how he used to work with all these other people, and he just does this quick little $200 soundbite thing, comes back after a month, and there's like $26,000 stuffed in, of checks, residual checks stuffed in his mailbox, and he's like, whoa, so,
Yeah.
but,
Buy a square foot tile.
yes, no, see, there's the shameless plug, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, but, wherever people are that they're listening to this, or they're watching it, like, find those organizations if you're a veteran.
And if you're local, find us. We're
Yeah.
Post Legion 169, and our ruck group is 169 Ruckers and Base Camp Lindsey, and then we're linked out of we have like a parent group out of Lawton, and that's the Blackout Rucking Crew. But we are all tied together and we all help each other, and it's a great community to be a part of. And you're helping, support homeless veterans. You're doing something good for yourself. A lot of the rucks are fundraiser rucks. They're all our parent group in Lawton. When they ruck, they do a community trash pickup while they're rucking. It's always something good. It's like a win-win. And rucking burns as many calories as running, and it's low impact. So.
And it works your heart 3 times as hard than actual running does, because you're carrying weight and you're having to maintain a certain pace. But I mean, when we get out there and we do these rucks, and when we get out there and we have our post meetings, we have post functions with our American Legion, we stay away from politics and religion as much as humanly possible, because those are two of the most singularly
Yeah, you're always
dividing,
wrong.
and I mean, yeah, it's polarizing.
We don't want to.
So we're not in the business of driving people away. I mean, you can have your your point of view, we don't care as long as you are active and as long as we see that you're benefiting from it and giving back. You know, I mean, and because we're all in this fight together. You know, so it's you know, we can give each other a bunch of crap. You know, make jokes about each other's branches of service, make jokes about everybody's jobs. You know, it's like, oh, I was in the infantry. I'm going to end up with a name, you know, a job with a name on my shirt. Well, guess what? You raised your right hand, your name was on your shirt too. Yeah. You know, so I mean, we give each other a bunch of crap about, you know, what each other did in the, you know, the military, what branch you served in, whether or not you actually joined the military, Coast Guard.
We don't even have any Coast Guard people.
Actually,
we have an auxiliary here.
Actually, what's really funny is the Coast Guard is not part of the DoD.
No, they're part of Homeland Security.
Yeah.
They changed that though, right?
No.
It's always been part of it.
The Space Force
they changed
is more part of the DoD than the Coast Guard
The
is.
Coast Guard is mostly doing just stuff off the coast of Miami.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, they are all over the place.
So we have an auxiliary here.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's basically a glorified bass boat, and
I would like to go visit them just to say hi and see what they do.
Yeah, they have.
Actually, okay.
They had a display set up. I forget. I think it was like at a gun show. I think.
Yeah. All jokes aside and everything, Coast Guard is basically, depending on what you do, it's basically a mixture of fire department, EMS, and
law enforcement.
Yeah, drug interdiction. And
they do.
Stuff.
I mean,
interdiction.
Yeah, in some of the higher profile areas, like
dude, the crazy
Coast,
stuff they've done.
Yeah,
it's
there was that
freaking
guy
ridiculous.
there was that guy off of the coast, off the Gulf Coast.
People running the speedboats.
They had that. The drug runners had that submarine.
Dude,
jumped off of his boat.
It was freaking awesome.
And the sub's trying to submerge, and he's banging on the hatch, and he's trying to open it up. You know,
he got it open.
Yeah, he got it open, and they stopped that sub because I mean the dudes, they didn't want to flood it out, but
yeah.
You know, I mean, some of those guys are you know, they're hard.
I know a little bit about what they do because I worked for Border Patrol, and I remember there'd be like what they would do is
Border Patrol is another one that's got kind of scared me.
They would have cruise ships come in, and meanwhile the cartels would have these special like magnetic devices where they would stuff them with drugs and then stick it to the bottom of a cruise ship. So then it was Coast Guard that had to secretly, quietly, without disturbing, you know, the cruise guests, you know, dive under this cruise ship and, you know, retrieve those metal items full of, you know, cocaine or whatever. And it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to swim under a cruise ship.
I mean, you know, but like, you know, to our point, you know, with the point you're making, you know, yeah, I mean, we can give any branch a degree of crap. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're still all brothers and sisters, and that at the crux of it all is both the mission statements of both Base Camp Lindsey and our rucking program through the American Legion. It's to, you know, bring relief and safety to
people who
our
earned
community.
it. Yeah.
You know, it's like you went over there and you know you served. You gave up a portion of your life, and in some cases, gave up sections of your sanity and/or body, so that way we could all run around like complete assholes here at home
and be free
and
argue about whatever we want to argue about. Or,
yeah, so
you know?
I mean, the least, I mean, and it's not even a situation of, hey, it's the least that we can do, because then it just sounds like, hey, I'm just doing this for you. You know, it's our obligation.
It's every citizen's obligation. That's my standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, it's every citizen's obligation, but to that effect, you know, when you signed up, we didn't do it for the glory. We didn't do it because, hey,
I did it because I needed a job at the time.
Yeah, you know,
I didn't want to go to college.
For me, it was family business because we've had a skeleton in every major, you know, American conflict. You know, from the Continental Army on the way up. You know,
okay.
You know, so it's kind of I say it's a family business, but you know, we've served in the Marines, we've had Air Force, Army, Navy. My dad was a Navy vet for 20-something years. He served in Vietnam also, you know, just like your dad did. But, you know, so, I mean, and then my oldest son, he joined the Army. He became an infantryman just like I did, you know. And in fact, when he graduated AIT and earned his blue cord, I turned him blue with my original infantry cord when I graduated in 95. Oh. And he still has it, so you know I'm like, no.
See, that was another thing that a lot of people don't understand is people that were in the military. It's like me. I was services. Basically, all I was a cook. I worked fitness, mortuary.
Did you go to school in Virginia? I got to go to a fitness school in Virginia.
Oh.
Oh.
They just put me into the thing. It's
Oh.
like, you're a fitness instructor now. I'm like, okay. So I had to read up.
Yeah.
Because my workout routine, everybody's at that place, their workout routine was basically build muscle. My workout routine is basically like a gymnast.
Get people to pass their PT tests.
And that too. But and we did honor guard. Our organization does oversees honor guard. We oversee honor guard, doesn't mean we're in honor guard.
Right.
Mortuary affairs.
Yeah, and
the
those
other-
are
Services
those are
is
important
so
jobs.
ambiguous because you don't know where you're going
And
to
logic.
get it. You know,
Yeah.
services like you could be doing mortuary or you could be, serving food. It's
Yeah.
real. I remember that it's like it covers a lot of ground there, and
Yeah.
you don't know where you're going to end up.
But what the factor of that is after we get out of the service, it's like, I told her, it's like, what'd you do in the military? I was like, well, I was a cook. I made sure the people that were going out and killing people, made sure they had a full stomach throughout the day. And they're like, well, what do you do now? Well, I got my degree. I got like a certificate for robotics, to work on robotics and everything, which I never used. I can work on it. I can do PLCs and everything like that. I had to re-grade myself since after I did the course, and I also did like working on jet engine blades up at Hellnet, and I've done really really weird and odd jobs. I was a maid for a while. But they always have that stigma. It's like, oh, you're in the military. I bet you're going into security and everything like that. Or, well, I actually did security. I was a correctional officer, but I already.
Ew, I was too.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Worst job I've ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And then it gets to the point to where they just see you as, oh, you're in the military. The only thing that you're probably good at is just busting down being a door kicker.
No,
I'm
that would be my job.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you were in the infantry.
You can get a door.
Yeah, like no, it's like a lot of times, everybody gets those stereotypes, and it's like,
What is it? Open mouth, close your eyes, for the door explosion.
Yeah. Close your eyes, open your mouth, because the whole pressure. I mean, like you breach and then you throw in a flashbang, or you breach and then you go in and you pry the room out. But I mean, people, well, what'd you do in the military? Like, well, I was in the infantry. Well, oh, what's that? Well, we were the guys on the ground. So I mean, we do like combat actions and combat operations. And they would just automatically
you're just
assume.
doing patrols too.
Yeah, patrols. I mean,
Securing the area.
There was. Years and years ago, we invited a Russian general out to NTC, out in California, to observe a training rotation. And NTC, the Op 4 out there, they take American tracked vehicles and they weld a bunch of like facades and stuff on them to make them look like Russian vehicles. At least they did back in the day. And this Russian general was observing the Op 4 unit, and he said that was probably the best trained Russian unit he'd ever seen. And then we just kind of just shattered his entire reality when we told him those are Americans and those are actual American vehicles. And he said that the reason why the American military is so good at war fighting is because war is defined as long periods of boredom broken up by sporadic moments of chaos, and the American military, in the Army specifically, is we practice chaos on a daily basis.
Yeah. How do you feel about them getting rid of the shark attack?
I don't like it. I mean, to a degree, it's like, okay, because I'm old school, I mean, and to a degree, yeah, I'm guilty as being one of those people. If you don't read from the Red Hymnal book, but I'm fluid in that sense. But it's. When I got off the cattle car, I mean, I had a drill sergeant dropping me for push-ups every 10 paces, and it was like, but I had mentally prepared myself for that, and I welcomed it, I mean, I was one of those strong, smart privates, I knew the answers to the questions, but I also liked getting smoked, so, and it was like, your stereotypical infantryman, like, we're knuckleheads, pound on a wall, hard as woodpecker lips, and stick me in a direction guy. Yeah, But now, when they first talked about losing the shark attack, I'm like, I mean, that's almost like a rite of passage. But now they're talking about, oh, well, it's not so much that we're trying to be gentler or kinder. It's we're going to introduce this problem-solving thing, and it's like, okay, we're going to assign you into squads, and your squad has to be responsible for taking care of this objective. And that's how they gauge you. And I'm like, that's what training is for. That's what basic is for, because we teach you how to do the job. Then you do your FTX at the end, where I hate the term bivouac, but when you go out to the field at the end of your training cycle, and you have to employ everything that you've learned over the previous 8, 9, 10 weeks. And then once you graduate basic, you're a soldier. And then you go to your AIT, where you learn how to do your MOS, which for me was, infantry, 11 Bravo, 11 Hotel, which 11 Hotel doesn't exist anymore. It's tow missile gunners. So, I mean, we worked with the tow missile system, and we were an anti-armor infantry. So, we either dismounted our weapon systems, or we had them mounted on Humvees or whatever. We shot wire-guided missiles at tanks, and just by the grace of God, he made me a 50 cal gunner. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm okay with this. But I agree, but I don't agree with it at the same time. It's kind of a hard position.
They're thinking about going back to it, and only because of the reason why they're thinking about going back to it, because they actually implemented it.
Yeah.
Then the then the guy that developed it, he goes down to the troops and everything, to the basic trainees and everything. It's like, is this stuff? How does this make you feel and everything? Going through this and everything, and he's like, well, this is freaking easy.
Yeah,
oh man, he was so livid.
Call me old school, but it's like, okay, whenever we went to basic, you were under lock and key. Like these kids now, they're making TikTok videos in basic.
I hate that they don't have to shine boots anymore in basic. That is about 50% of what.
Well, I was never good at it, so I'm actually happy about that.
I would
it's
trade,
just cotton balls, rubbing alcohol,
I'm
and the kiwi bird.
I did the same thing. I still
tweaking underwear
certain things
with tweezers.
You got to put that good base layer of polish on there and light your toes. Light the whole boot on fire and let it melt into the leather, and then you can go in and buff it with.
Taking a canteen to iron your creases.
I'll have somebody else do it for me.
I still have my jump boots.
That was another thing. It's like
every good paratrooper, I strip them once a year and I reshine them, and I've been out for a while, and I still do that just because I take pride in those boots.
Well, that was the whole reason. You can't find those types of rubber boots anymore, because I was.
You can,
the Bates,
because Bates. No, we're talking about Cochrane's or Double H's, you know, and so you can still find them, and they still sell them in clothing sales, or you can find them on Amazon or whatever.
I couldn't find them in clothing sales
because with the dress uniform, even with the pinks and greens that are coming out, the airborne units still wear jump boots.
Okay.
So,
because I had to get just regular. I hate cowboy boots. I mean, I've worked on a ranch and everything, and I hate cowboy boots. I'm the type of person. If you was like, what are you gonna do that run truck with? Flip flops. What? Are you crazy? I was like, no, I hate those.
You can't be tactical in flip flops, man. I'm just.
Yeah, you can. No, you can be tactical nude.
Yes, go nude. That's fine. That's awesome, because then you still get that psychological factor. This dude's charging me and he is naked. But you can't do it in flip flops, because like seriously, there's a reason why Jimmy Buffett said he blew out his pop top. And no, he stepped on a pop top and he blew out his flip flop. You don't wear them.
The most important thing ever.
Don't wear them.
I do.
If you're gonna go barefoot, if you're gonna wear anything,
you just
wear those what do they call them?
Small tree in my foot. That's my.
No, it's the stickers that really hit you out.
Oh yeah, the goat stickers suck.
Yeah.
But no, man. I do not own a pair of flip flops.
I don't because I have rucking feet.
Tennis shoes, hiking boots. I still wear issue Army boots. Not the. I hate the leg boots. The standard black leather combat boots. I kept those for accountability.
I like the tall ones. They make my legs look better. Yeah, the taller they are, the leaner my legs look. Once you get them all short and ankle length, I look like a tree trunk. But I miss the tall boots, as tall as they could go.
No.
But I'm short. So.
You blouse, I mean, dude, I loved it. It doesn't matter what branch you were in. You can make that uniform look good.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not talking about, the higher the boot, the leaner my legs look. No. That's why we blouse our pants.
I had mine altered because it looked like, and when I sat down, I had a huge fupa. You know what I mean? Like, I got rid of that. I'm like, tighten these, take the pockets out. I don't care. I'm not sitting down with that.
But the
Like,
uniform was designed for a purpose. I mean,
not for me to have a fupa.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, you should be wearing body armor over it anyway, so it's
Yeah.
whatever.
I was like
In church?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, why not?
I mean, look what happened like a couple of years ago with the what was it? Church in Fort Worth.
Oh yeah, the church in Fort Worth, or it was south of Fort Worth, but one of the parishioners, he was an usher. He was carrying in church.
Actually, if you actually look into it, he actually does a course for all of his.
Yeah, now he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
well, no, he was.
oh
doing
yeah,
it
that's
for
right.
him,
He was a concealed. His job outside of churches is a concealed carry instructor.
Yeah,
but this guy comes in, gets off 2 shots.
Yeah.
And then he gets dropped.
Or we could have a Draw Muhammad contest and see if we can get any terrorists. Yeah.
I just don't like looking like I'm in a maternity uniform when I am not.
That's why we go shopping for the right size.
Or get them altered because they gave me one this large. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you can have them altered.
Wish I did.
Yeah.
Wish I did.
Just not to the point where, like, I saw this one first sergeant, because according to the AR 670-1, which is the reg manual for Army uniforms, you know, back in the day when we used to be able to roll our sleeves. Well, they can do it now, but
I don't know
back,
if you could do it.
back in the day when we had the BDUs, right?
Yeah.
The woodland camo BDUs.
Well, with the greens, you just chop off the arm and just have it sewn in.
No, and there's a reason why.
I had my pockets sewn down, everything.
Reason why we don't do that is because every part of that uniform served a
Serves
purpose.
Yeah.
So
a
like we
life-saving
couldn't
purpose.
have a short sleeve BDU top.
No. Ours, but like Vietnam era and everything like that. That's how they wore it. You could get it. You could get your sleeves just chopped off and just tapered in.
Well,
But
they encourage the cuffing, the rolling.
Yeah.
Makes my
And the
arm
reason
hurt.
why, and this was the reason that I was always given was, and if anybody out there knows better or knows differently, please direct all comments at him. But, it's like if like with your NBC stuff, if somebody gassed us or whatever, even if it was just CS gas, you should be able, you roll your sleeves a certain way, you'd be able to pull them down and cover your arms.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter how many times we got sent to the gas chamber, it still gets in your skin, and if it gets wet, you're sweaty or whatever, it's cold outside, it sucks.
It's always gonna
You
be
could
that.
breathe it in like vape smoke now, but,
I was like everybody. Well, other than that, because I had like 3 types of uniforms because I had to have 4 technically, because I had just the
yeah, you had your duty
polo.
uniforms,
I had
the
like a
whites,
polo
yeah.
shirt, and I had my cooking attire.
Yeah.
And then I had my BDUs.
Did you have the gym pants that were pleated? The pleated khakis? Oh, pleats in my pants.
I had Dockers.
Yeah.
I
No.
went out, just got the same style but different color and everything.
I mean, I had the basic stuff. You had your Class A uniform, Class B, which is basically just without your coat.
What about the class? I forget what class, but they went to Old World War.
Or the World War II,
I
yeah, the
like
pinks and greens,
that.
yeah. Dude, to me, I loved that uniform. I always loved that uniform.
Sure.
I hated the Class A's, except on payday activities, when you have to wear them once a month. You're standing there making sure all your shit's straight. It's like, you know what? Fuck yeah, I look good, And then you go out and then the sergeant major trashes you because he thinks that something's wrong, But it's fun, that's part of it. But
Try Old Guard.
oh yeah, no, those guys, I have like huge respect for those guys because they DNC every day,
Yeah.
and I mean it's
But
religion.
looking good
to them.
is part of it.
Yeah.
I don't like sloppy people.
Yeah. I mean it's not so much the fact that you're looking good. It's the self-discipline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you look like
You
you
know.
care, that you're in a
Well, it's
uniform.
like that
and
Aaron
cry.
was saying. If you want to start off your life a little bit better, just
Make your bed.
make your bed. Yeah.
Yeah, make your bed.
Absolutely.
And I started doing that. I've been feeling better about myself.
Yeah, it's like you get on, you straighten your sheets out and everything like that. And you make your bed up. You put the pillows where and yeah, I've got more than 2 pillows. Don't at me. You know, but it's like, you know, you get your bed all squared away and you Swiffer your floors and everything like that. You dust everything down. You feel better, you know, because I mean, it's not clutter, it's not chaos. If you need to find something, you know where to go.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of goes back to why we don't sew our pockets down. You know,
Yeah, it
because we
looks
had, you know, everybody,
Sorry.
you know, we go to the field. Everybody carried stuff in the
Well,
in
not
the
in the
Yeah, I
field,
always-
but
you
for
know.
day to day, like I
even
didn't-
day to day, because you know there's no field uniforms.
Always-
I
and
was
there's no
always
garrison
command staff,
uniforms.
so I sat at a
Doesn't
desk.
matter. You were at one point you were a soldier. You know, so it's like you're supposed to be able to be ready to go at any moment.
And I-
That's
That was
your
another-
job.
I
That
did
was
have
another-
an unaltered uniform, but
That was another thing that I was kind of weirded about. It's like you went from the Air Force to the Army.
I did.
Why did you downgrade?
They said
Did
they
you
would.
just get tired of five-star
The
hotels?
Army said they would pay for my
Downgrade,
student
okay.
loans
Okay.
because I had a lot of student loans,
I see what you
and
did there.
and they didn't.
Dick.
But I did have. I liked the Army better. It was better suited for me. So didn't get my student loans paid off, but it was
Because you're an EMT.
I was an EMT in the Air Force. Yes.
Okay. That was one thing when 9/11 popped off and everything, and I had to go to Base X, and I was talking to a person that he was a nurse in Wolford Hall,
Okay.
and I was like, so what about this combat and everything? Like I said, it's like, dude, this is a freaking vacation. Because what I found out is he does a lot of his nursing stuff because they bring gunshot wounds and everything like that to Wolford Hall because there's a lot of gang violence there. And I was like, really? I was like, yeah, dude, it's like World War II D-Day battle, like constantly every day. I was like, whoa.
That was not my.
Yeah, and
experience
like
at all.
your special operators, your SEALs and your Green Berets, whenever they, you know, the ones that select medic as their specialty, they I believe they're supposed to do like a year-long internship at a high at a high level trauma ER, like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, New Orleans.
You could probably message Marcus Luttrell because that's what he did,
Yeah,
and find out about that.
Right,
Because
yeah.
I haven't.
yeah, because I had gone to the SF recruitment briefing, filled out my 4187. I wanted to go to SFAS. I wanted to. That's where I wanted to
wanted to
take
be
my
soft?
career. Yeah, you know, that's where I wanted to take my career. God had other plans for me, which is fine. I don't.
What
regret
second
that at all.
language were you going to take?
You know, if I
What were
remember
your
right.
choices?
Well, you can take any second
Well-
language. You have to do a second language.
Yeah, well, in the Army, depending on what language you took, dictated what group you went to.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wanted to learn Arabic and I wanted to learn Russian.
Those are, I think, the two.
You know,
top
but
ones.
Russian, because I mean, those paid like a high. I mean, not high, but like those still at the time had the foreign language proficiency pay bonus, which I don't think
Massive
Russian does
bonus,
anymore,
yeah.
but.
Chinese does right now, I think.
Probably.
Probably, but you know, downgrading, really? Dude, that sticks under my skin. I'm like, really?
You got him. You got him.
No, it's like, dickhead. Good God. You know, it's like taking any shit from you, Skyjack. What the hell? You know, but I mean, it's all good. Like I said, you know, it's like.
Yeah, but when it comes around to it, if you actually came up to me and we barely know each other and everything like that, it's like, man, I need some help. I was like, all right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
I have nothing
You
else
know,
better to do with my
You know,
life.
like, because, I mean, when I was in high school and, you know, growing up, I mean, it was all about the Navy. It's all about the Navy, all about the Navy. Because, I mean, obviously,
Well,
the
yeah,
Navy
did you watch-
paid, you know,
did you
well,
watch
all about
Navy
the
SEAL?
Navies. Yeah, everybody wanted to be a Navy SEAL like Charlie Sheen, you know. But it's like, okay, you know, it's like, oh, I'll see you guys later. And he jumps off the damn bridge, and it's like, in real, you know, he is got, like, that's not service connected, dude. Sorry, just not happening. But, you know, with.
A lot of
Yeah.
Navy SEALs say that. They're like, man, I watched Navy SEALs movie and I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. I had the poster up there
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything. I'm
Well,
like,
for me, growing up as a Navy brat, for me it was Top Gun, dude. I wanted to be a naval aviator, you know.
I was with you on that.
But then I found out that required a lot of math, and I just suck at math. Like math and I do not get along
Everybody
genetically,
wants to be a fighter pilot.
you know. But
So when it became time for me to decide, what I wanted to do after high school, I knew that I wanted to join the military. Because when my dad retired from the Navy, we moved here where my mom and dad are both from. And I joined the ROTC unit in high school. And I'm like, well, duh, the Army is kind of a fit for me. And I'm like, I don't want to do just like a normal job, and being a medic would be kind of cool, and I don't want to drive trucks, not to disparage truck drivers, I know plenty of them. But, I wanted to be a paratrooper. I wanted to jump out of airplanes, and I wanted to repel helicopters. I wanted to do all that. When you picture somebody who's in the Army, when you picture a soldier, you picture an infantryman 99% of the time.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. And, when my dad and I had that talk, I was like 15 or 16, I'm like, hey, I want to join the military. And he was like, well, I don't want you to join the Navy. I said, no, I don't want to join the Navy. He's like, because when I get bored, just like anybody else, we get bored, we do stupid shit.
Then you get in trouble.
Yeah, we get in trouble. It's like, so you're on a ship.
I don't know what you're talking about because a bunch of my friends that was at Keesler, there was a bar that was on the coast that's not there anymore because of a bunch of Seabees.
Yeah.
Oh, my sister deployed on a naval ship, and she left with one husband and came back with another.
Yeah, see, boredom. And it's like, so, not to say that I didn't get bored and do stupid things when I was in the Army. Trust me, we did. Repelled off the barracks, for crying out loud. We would, yeah, I'm just, but.
Except talk back to a Marine colonel.
Yeah, there was some of that too. But, we were going through the different branches, and he's like, well, I don't want you to join the Navy because you wouldn't be a good fit.
No.
He's like, he's like, don't go join in the Air Force. I'm like, I don't want to join the Air Force. And I legitimately told my dad this at the time. I'm 16, and I'm like, I want to join the military. Anyways, see, now I'm getting back at you.
Yeah.
So, but then he was like, well, then don't join the Marines because you're too smart for that. And I'm like, I can dig that, So, that left the Army. And I'm like, not that the Army was my last choice. Because I was always leaning towards the Army anyway. But, so my dad, he went down to the recruiting station with me and he signed that release so I could do the delayed entry at 16. Because I graduated basic and AIT at 17. I didn't turn 18 until jump week in airborne school.
Oh, really?
So, Uncle Sam's present to me
was
jumping out of a plane twice, and, because we jumped twice on my birthday. I'm like, dude, that is like, who does that, But, I've been afforded so many different opportunities because of the things that, because of the path that I chose to go into in the military. Yeah, I could have joined the Navy and I could have, I could have gone everywhere. I could have shared some of the same experiences that my dad had. But, I felt that pull, that calling to just sleep in holes, and just carry heavy shit just because.
Learn by flashcards?
Well, no.
Actually, yes. We had a deck of cards for tank identification, and we'd have these our platoon sergeant or platoon leader or even our section leaders, the squad leaders, would sit there and hold them up, and we'd have to identify the thread armor.
Not going to take anything away from it. Air Force has to do the same damn thing.
Yeah,
It's a fast learning
That's
thing.
how they try to.
But it's even funnier when it comes from the Army because a lot of the stuff they have, anytime we're being instructed how to build a tent or anything like that, it's okay, these are the written instructions for the Air Force, and these pictures right here are for the Army.
Yeah, and it's we get our pre-deployment briefings and we get our safety briefings once we get where we're going. You guys get your pre-deployment briefings, and then you get your hotel cards once you get there. So,
I had to, the roughest I had.
And then you get the Wi-Fi password. Yeah, it's like, but it's. We can all very decidedly agree that our community is unique. We're.
You're either the type of person that's gonna be a part of it, or you're on the other side of the fence and what?
And our mission is not to educate the general public as to how or why we operate the way we do. Yeah. Our mission is to reach out to our homeless and at-risk brothers and sisters and bring them back into the fold Let them know that, hey, you are not having to go through this alone. You're not having to do this by yourself. And you have resources available to you because you have options.
Because we're here,
Exactly,
we're all
yeah.
over. And
what really gets me on something like that is the government isn't really. Oh, if we need to shut it down, we can shut it down.
Well, because we have a ruck event today at
it's
2
also
o'clock.
2.
Yeah.
Are you coming?
Yeah, I'll come. I don't care.
All right, cool. Yeah, 2 o'clock. The Odd Duck down there on 6th Street. It's 12:30.
But it's only a 2 mile, and
Yeah, we're gonna do coffee or whatever afterwards, but
You
because
can-
any of the events that we try to do downtown, or even our normal coffee rucks, which is over there by Hobo Coffee
They're
on
shorter and
Seymour Highway and Loop 11. That's like a 3.5 mile route on the Canyon Trail, and then we come back and then we have coffee. So I mean, we're supporting the local businesses.
Yeah.
And we're gaining visibility, and I want to say not notoriety, but notoriety in a good way.
I mean, people are starting to see like, hey, this is a thing in this town that we want to get more people involved in.
Last time we were downtown, we went to the Highlander restaurant, and we did the Ranger Panty Ruck.
Oh, and everybody brought
And,
pants
dude-
except me to go to the Highlander. They all changed. I
Screw
didn't.
those.
Dude.
No.
No.
I'm
They're-
sorry.
okay,
I'm
these,
sorry.
These are my brothers.
Just because you
I-
don't have the legs for it,
I
doesn't mean
cannot.
No, it's
unsee.
not that. You sweat for one instance in those things, and for what? Okay, my idea is this. Okay, and Evan Hafer had the idea of it. What it was is it was a spec ops guy. Everybody like looked up to and everything like that. It's like, you know what? These motherfuckers think I'm straight as an arrow, and I'm about to see some dicks, and that's what it is. They're like. He was like, oh, we got to do Ranger panties, because if you sweat a little bit, everything's out.
The entire
Unless
rock-
they have liners for a reason.
No,
though.
you gotta look on my Facebook for the Ranger panty.
Really? Do you really think those work?
Yeah, actually
No,
they
there was
do.
a guy. Michael.
They
couldn't,
do.
They couldn't bend over. He had to tie his shoe, and he had his wife do it because he's like, I can't bend down. And I was like, thank goodness.
It's because he cut the liner out.
Well, I can. There's things. My friends, my peers, I can't unsee that part of their legs ever. So, but it was fun. It was a lot. Of fun.
And the idea of the Ranger panty got brought up because it's like, well, if it's good enough for these knuckleheads, and it's just something to do. It's just to kind of break up the monotony of it.
Costume rocks and
Yeah, I mean, we'll do.
Well, they actually did away with those for a lot of the spec ops. They don't use those.
I don't know how they would actually be advantageous. Like,
Well, the whole thing, even at one point, they were telling everybody, it's like, well, you can't use underwear in those because the static electricity in them will
well, they
actually
have
blow up the
built-in
bone.
underwear.
Yeah, that was the whole idea, but they don't work. Once you sweat in them, you see everything. It's like having like an eye patch, basically, to dress in.
I just kept my eyes averted because it was.
I wore one of those for like a week, and I was like, what the
They're
Dude, they
so
are
comfy.
remarkably comfortable.
They are
So
comfortable. I haven't,
comfortable.
but you know what? They invented this thing called spandex, and they work just as good.
No, Ranger
no,
panties
see,
are super comfy.
Ranger panties beckon back to the days of the old gray Army PTs. And dude, I'm telling you, when you're out there and you're on a run,
Just
there's
freeze
nothing
away.
better, brother. Nothing better. You're out there. You're not necessarily swinging your pork sword everywhere. I mean, but you still
they
have
had-
the freedom.
Well, my family members invented this thing called a kilt. It does the same thing, but actually you can't see anything unless you look up.
I understand the purpose of a kilt. I get it. Well, totally. I mean, I kin as to
It
why.
keeps you warm and
Yeah.
everything. Those things don't keep you warm.
Well,
But
that's
it
why
was
you
fun.
move.
It
But
was
if it's
so much
fun,
fun, though.
I mean, we do.
It is.
We
It
do
is
stuff
fun
like
to see
that.
that stuff.
I mean, I got sick as a dog that we did that Jingle Bell.
Oh,
We
my
tied
God.
Jingle Bells to our
It was our
rucks,
Christmas
and
theme ruck. We were.
Oh.
I had lights. I
freezing.
strung lights.
My mom was
See,
totally
your mind
different.
went there, and that's
I'm like,
whatever.
We
So,
were
all jokes
freezing.
aside.
We had like sleet in our face. We were miserable.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it would just, it was already below freezing.
Yeah, it
The
was
slush was freezing to the trail,
not fun.
and it was just like you get soaked and then you get chilled at night.
The way back, we were just all like,
Yeah,
the
it was
grubby
not.
part, like-
It was not pretty, but we get out there, like when we get all the snow that we're expecting.
Yeah.
Mike, who is the other vice commander of our Legion post, he and I go out. We'll get out and just go ruck.
Yep.
You know, so man, remember last March when it snowed?
Mhm.
He and I went out there and did 5 miles, and we covered that 5 miles in like 45 minutes. We were just booking. And it was driving snow. I mean, like the wind was blowing, especially on that levee that goes along the lake shore. And the wind's real bad over there. I mean, like one side of my face, our faces were just like white, regular, you know.
And we've got a ruck. That memorial ruck will be on the 27th. If you want to come out.
Oh, and see, here's my kid, my 11-year-old here.
And
Hey, bud. Hey, guess what?
But-
Guess what?
base camp
We're doing a
Lindsey-
podcast right now.
Yeah, dude.
Sick.
We're talking about
Hey!
talking about doing those rucks. Remember, like the ones you guys come
Yeah, we
on.
make our kids go sometimes.
Yeah. See, like,
I mean,
dude, he loves it, man.
They're used to
Hey,
it.
hey, Colin, tell him about how much you like going on those rucks.
They're really fun and they also help exercise.
Yeah. See.
you know what? You know what also does that? Hunting. You carry the same ruck. You go out. You kill something, and you bring it back.
Dude, my 13-year-old's about to do
Yeah,
that.
you know, but yeah. I mean, I get all that, but it's like,
It's hard to get kids to exercise.
yeah.
It really is.
Hey, bud, let me call you back here in a little bit, okay?
Okay, but I'm having trouble with the tutorial.
Oh, with Assassin's Creed.
I'm having the gentle, like the gentle push where you need to knock down any bases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that, but these keep on falling down.
Practice, young Padawan.
See, like,
Hey, hey, let me wrap this up, and then I'll give you a call back here in a second, okay?
okay,
All right, bud, love you.
I'll be back.
So once Base Camp Lindsey is open, we are going to have a rucking program that will be optional for any veterans who are there that want to participate. Because I know they're going to be, reclusive at first. They're not going to want to leave their rooms. But once they become comfortable with the staff and the atmosphere, then if they're physically able, I'm going to get them rucking.
Yeah, and that's the driving force, not only behind Base Camp Lindsey, but it's the driving force behind our rucking program. And yes, you can do the same thing when you hunt. Yes, you've made your point. Congratulations.
I mean, people
But-
are like, "What is rucking? Do you have a backpack?
Yeah,
Do
you just
have
put it in a
brick?
backpack.
Yeah.
Put it on and come join us."
And when we're talking about it, a lot of people automatically assume that we're requiring a packing list of X amount of pounds, and I'm like, no.
Or
You
run
Yeah, that was
together.
another thing I was
You can-
wondering about.
It doesn't matter if you're
running.
just wearing a Camelback or you just bring
Yeah,
a bottle
it's-
of water at first, because I mean, not everybody's going to be at the same physical
And that's
level.
the beauty of it, is that you're with a group of people, but everyone is facing their own challenge.
Exactly.
Whether it be an injury, the weight they're carrying, the speed they're trying to keep up with, because his stride is a lot longer than mine, and
Yeah, my stride is as long as she is
so
tall.
everybody's challenging themselves. It's not a challenge against anybody else, but you're always trying to improve and getting better at it, but you're not competing against other people, and everybody's got their own whatever it is, their own reason to be trying to do better. Plus it burns a ton of calories.
Yeah, I mean,
and-
my knees are shot, my back is, I've got compressed lumbar,
And it-
and my shoulders are shot, but, but I still get out there, and, I draw 60% disability from the VA, but I'm still out there because, idle hands are the devil's workshop.
Yeah,
mentally. And, mentally it's good for me. Physically it's good for me, and I'm able to get out there and invite guys out,
And you're
invite girls out,
outdoors.
and we're being active, and you're gonna get a lot of these people that are gonna bitch and moan. Oh, you're not wearing your mask. You're not socially distancing. Guess what? We're outside, and if we're gonna be that large of a group, yeah, we'll wear masks.
And
but
we're that type of a group where
Yeah.
it's like, because someone asked me, what's the difference between hiking and rucking? And I was like, okay, one, don't ever call rucking hiking again. I'm like, basic differences, we carry weight on purpose, and I don't think the hiking community typically would appreciate the fact that
It's actually more or less weight.
We've-
You wanna make your
when you
backpack
hike,
less weight.
when you
Yeah,
hike, yeah,
we've
you're going for
finished-
streamline. You're going for
we
speed.
ruck for beer and meat.
Well, okay, now to that end, not to take away from what you just said, but when we're talking about getting guys and girls out of the house, getting them away from the bottles and stuff like
Well,
that.
this is okay. I'm talking about events, like
Right, but what I'm
bigger
saying,
events.
is that
You're not making it out. You're making it.
we're not making it. Yeah, we're not making it better. We're not making it about what you get at the end. If you want to bring beer, fine. Don't drink during the ruck. We can drink afterwards. But just be mindful of the fact that you are accountable for yourself to get yourself home and/or find somebody to help you.
Well, we go out to dinner or something after a big event.
Right, but
normally.
I just I wanted to kind of clarify that for the people listening.
And patches.
But
We work for patches.
Yeah, we the events that we do, sometimes we'll get patches made up, and
You wear
pay
one
like
or zero.
$5 for a patch or whatever. But the purpose, the end goal, the mission statement, as it were, of these rucks is to get our brothers and sisters out, get them physically active, get their minds off of what they're going through, and get them re-exposed to our community.
Yeah, better, safer outlet.
Yeah,
And
it's
it
a better,
is the
safer
most
outlet.
diverse, group of people, and everybody is so kind, and you just don't meet kind people in the world. People that
Yeah, it kind of basically what I do half the time. There's a lot of strange ones, but if someone's like, "Hey, I can't afford this," here you go, man. It doesn't matter.
I
to
keep
me.
an extra rucksack in my trunk,
Yeah.
from when my
And
11-year-old.
people are surprised.
Yeah.
Just out. I mean, to this day, if I help somebody out, they're like, "Why would you do something like that? You're freaking human.
Yeah.
Stop it. Let's go."
Yeah, it's like, at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, we're all about trying to help our veterans, but regardless of whether or not you served, if you're in need of help, we're here, because, we're still responsible for each other at the end of the day, we have to be good stewards of our fellow man, and that's, while we're trying to be exclusive to the veteran community, it does not end in, that's not the end all to be all. The buck doesn't stop
helps
there.
encourage you being a good person and
Yeah.
not just living for yourself because you're
A good egg instead of a shitty egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, you can be all, magnanimous and altruistic, whatever. Take your $5 or $10 word and plug it in here. But at the end of the day, it's about the kind of person that you want your kids to see. And what kind of an example are you setting?
True good people. If anybody from our club was to call me and say, "I just need somebody to talk to," I would break my back to do that.
Yeah, I had one guy. It was like I have a veteran page. That one guy was like, "Hey, I need someone to talk to." This is like at 6:00 in the morning. It was
It's
just
never
lucky
a
I was
convenient
freaking
time.
lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I was up. I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he's like, I was having bad dreams about what happened like 8 years ago. So what is up with that? And I just gave him the whole. It was kind of the whole spill of I read up on it because he was having bad dreams of the combat that happened overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, technically what it is just your mind working out the problem now.
Yeah.
I have several problems with certain things that happen in my personal life, and sometimes my brain just wants to kick me in the butt.
Yeah.
With that. But on that note, you said you had a fundraiser coming up, and this is and this stuff.
Yes.
So what's the fundraiser? Where was it going to be at?
The fundraiser, you can go online to the Base Camp Lindsey Facebook page, and the link is there, or you can go to, it's the North Texas Veterans Relief Foundation, ntvRF.com.
If anything, what I'll do is I'll put the link in the
And-
description.
Okay, perfect. And then you click on that link, and then that will allow anybody to become an investor and buy a square foot of our facility on 6th Street. And there's two options. You can sponsor, it's $20 per square foot, and that will be yours. If you're not local, reach out. We will write your name and message or whatever you want on it and send you a photo and certificate of your square foot. But there's a second option that says purchase a tile for Marissa, which is me, and that will count towards the room that I'm trying to sponsor for Sean Stokes' memorial. who was killed in action in 2007. So you want to click on that one so I can get my 248 title sold.
So this
please.
is where I can.
Pardon my inner micro. You can go to the Basecamp Lindsey Facebook page or go to ntvrf.com or 940-757-0321.
Thank you.
But, I mean, and link in the bio.
Yeah.
Yes, link in the bio, but it's an awesome fundraiser, and if you're local, then you get to come out and actually see and become a part of that building. So, and if you're not local and you do it, you're welcome to come out anytime, 5-10 years, and show people that, hey, I helped this, and these are the veterans I'm helping. So
Yeah, I mean, and you don't have to necessarily be a veteran to take part in these programs like the Rucking or contribute to Basecamp Lindsey. I mean, every day, Harry, Joe, Sally, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's civilian, veteran, active duty, whatever, it doesn't matter. We need to look after these people.
These are
and
people
we need to make sure that they understand that they're not fighting this fight alone. And, anybody can come out and ruck, anybody can donate, anybody can volunteer their time. It doesn't matter. I mean, there's a greater mission here, because we take care of our veterans because they took time out of their lives.
and we should never stop taking care of them.
They took time out of their lives to make sure that you can have the freedoms that you were given when this country was founded and framed. And, it sounds cheesy, but I believe it to this day, that the wind doesn't make our flag wave in the wind.
Yeah.
That is the breath of every soldier, sailor, Marine, and airman who has given their lives to defend that flag. That's them making that flag wave. So, we need to take care of the people who came home and make sure that, that they don't feel like it was done in vain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that their circumstances and that their sacrifices weren't for nothing. Like, they didn't come home for us to turn our backs on them. So
Yeah.
it's every citizen's responsibility to take care of the people who took care of them.
Okay.
This is fun. I want to come back and do this again.
Oh, I'll have you back. I don't care.
Yeah. This is fun.
And this is What the Hell. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram. We got rid of Twitter because of all the crap that's happened. We were on Pollard too, but got knocked off of that too. But we also have these shirts coming that are out. You can check us out on Facebook, and it's www.angrymeproduction.com, and you can order a shirt. We only have this one style. We're making up more. And this is What the Hell. Thank you, people. Love you. Bye.